All right. So again, I'm sure that by now you guys understand that this is a solar appointment setting campaign. All right. So basically, what we're looking for are solar appointment setters, or what we call here as closers. Now, again, guys, please mute your microphone. Okay. So, like what I've mentioned, basically this campaign, what we're looking for are solar appointment setters, or what we call here as closers. Now, I'm not sure if you'll agree with me, but everybody in this world could be telemarketers, but not everybody could be closers. So, with that said, all right, instead of choosing agents to be closing agents on this campaign, what we would rather do is to train you guys from the basics of this campaign till to the complexities of the campaign, which is closing. All right. Now, with that said, we have three levels here. We have openers, we have closers in training, and we have closers. Now, regardless on what your experiences are, you would need to start as an opening agent. And that is what this training is all about. All right. Now, again, the goal here is not to be the best opening agent nor the best closer in training agent, but the goal here is to be the best closing agent. Now, for everybody, we are giving you 2 weeks to prove yourselves on this campaign. All right? Think of it like working on this campaign is like an audition every day. All right, it's either you will in 2 weeks, it's either you will be able to get the role or you wouldn't. All right, now in 2 weeks time, if you guys will not be promoted, or if you did not get yourself promoted to closers in training or closing agent, then it's either you will be terminated or you will be subject for deliberation. It depends on your performance, and it depends on where are the what are the areas that you slack off. All right. But then again, I do not want to give a lot of emphasis on closers in training and closing agents. I do not want to confuse you with a lot of information. But the bottom line is every day you get evaluated, and by the end of the week, you will be able to know as to whether you will be promoted or you will need to stay on the opening, which is bad. All right. And again, we will be starting off everybody as an opening agent. Now, as an opening agent, your job is to look for people that are interested, qualified, and cooperative, and transfer them over to our season closing agents on the dialer, and that includes myself. Now, let me go ahead and share you guys my screen. Let me know if you can see it. Just let me know. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, it's good.
Yep, yep.
Yes, yes,
All
ma'am,
right,
we can see.
perfection. Now, this should be the script that you guys have. All right. Now, number one rule on this campaign that you have to take down notes, the script is verbatim. You have to deliver it just like the way it was written down. You have to deliver it word per word. Now, again, I understand that some of you may already have worked on the same type of campaign, but you have to understand that the way we do things here are different. All right? For a reason that number one, we do not only work with one solar company in United States. We work with multiple solar companies across United States in different states. All right. Now, each of these clients has their own requirement. All right. It's not one qualification fits all. That's not how it works here. Now, for us to be able to maintain the quality of leads or deals that these clients needed, we have to have a uniform script, just so we are not misleading customers, nor we're informing them things that are not really the truth on the program. All right. That is number one reason why the script needs to be delivered just like the way it was written down. It is our client's instruction. This is what they're expecting us to say or to tell these customers that we have. We do not want our clients attending these appointments, or we do not want these customers and our clients or the solar companies meeting up with these people, and they'll tell the clients or the solar companies, hey, you know what, this is what the agent told me and now you're telling me this. We do not want to have that disconnection. All right. And again, number one reason why the script needs to be delivered just like the way it was written down is to maintain the quality of our leads. All right. Second is for a legal reason. All right. If you have been working in telemarketing for years now, or even for months, right? Not everybody or not all of these people or customers are really fond of receiving telemarketing calls. Neither do you, right? Now, with that said, this campaign is TCPA compliant. We abide by the law of telemarketing in US. All right, which means that we are not allowed to call people who are on the national DNC. All right. Now, we wanted to be able to avoid lawsuits. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not trying to scam people here. We're just trying to sell the idea of solar. There is nothing wrong on what we do. But, there are some customers who will waste your time, who will, some customers some customer who are on the national DNC, and they will just fish for a lawsuit.
ನೀವು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಿರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ
I'm
ಸಮ್ಮುಖ
sorry, is
ಬರ್ತದೆ
there anything going on that is much
ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ.
important than this? Hesh Desai, do you have any question?
I'm sorry.
Please put your
No,
mic
I'm
on
sorry.
mute. That's fine. Okay, let me mute you. There you go. Okay. So like what I've mentioned, the second reason why the script needs to be delivered just like the way it was written down is for a legal reason, provided that this campaign is TCPA compliant. We wanted to avoid lawsuits from these customers. So with that said, as you can see on the script, you have a disclaimer right here. This call may be recorded for training and compliance purposes. On every calls that you guys make, before you ask any qualifying questions from your customers, make sure that you're informing them that they're being recorded for training and compliance purposes. There is no excuse why would you skip the disclaimer right here. If you need to highlight it, please do so. But again, please make sure that you are not skipping the disclaimer before you ask any questions from your customers. All right, the disclaimer is here for a legal reason. Okay, so do you guys have any question when it comes to following the script just like the way it was written down before I move forward to anything? Or did everybody understand that, or does that make sense to you guys?
We understood.
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Mhm.
Now,
Thank you.
let's talk about the script as a whole. All right. Now, one of the areas that you are being evaluated on, which plays or, that has a, impact on your scores. All right. One of the areas that you're being evaluated on is your 90-second calls. Now, we have what we call the 90-second rule. What is the 90-second rule? Now, the 90-second rule is in 90 seconds, you should be able to figure out as to whether the customer that you're speaking with is interested, qualified, and cooperative. All right? Now, you might say or you might think, well, that's impossible. Well, the script is only 16 sentences long. It should not take you more than 90 seconds to go through the whole script. Now, if you have a lot of calls that were over 90 seconds or longer than that, It's either you are saying something that is not part of the script or you are just not following the script. And remember, the number one rule here is to follow the script just like the way it was written down. All right. Now, let me expound that idea, right? How could we get to these customers as fast as 90 seconds? Well, as you can see here on your first paragraph, it's not the typical telemarketing script that you could see, or that you used before. As you can see, we do not have any pleasantries, such as, how are you doing today? How is it going? Doing good? Fine? All right. We do not have any pleasantries on the script. Why is that? It's because we do not want you guys to be wasting your time going back and forth with your customer. How they're doing today? You're doing good. Oh, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. All right. We do not want you to be wasting 10 seconds, 15 seconds, just going back and forth with your customer, asking them why they're doing bad and why they're doing good and all that stuff. All right. Again, we do not have that on our introduction. So you should not be saying it on your calls. Now, second, how would we identify the customers that are interested, qualified, and cooperative if we only have 90 seconds? Now, speaking of interest, level of interest, and level of cooperation. Now, one of the things that could help you guys out to identify as fast as 90 seconds or less than 90 seconds whether the customer is interested or not is if you ask them the tie downs. What are these tie downs? All right, the tie downs were the question that were highlighted with green. Sounds pretty good, right? Does that sound fair? All right, now these questions are not here by accident or we are just tripping and we just wanted to make the script a little bit longer and maximize the space on the script. That's not exactly the reason why we have these tie downs right after these two paragraphs. The reason being is, all right, this will help you identify the customer's level of interest. Not to mention that apart from it will help you to identify the customer's interest in less than 90 seconds, but also, all right, these questions were here, all right, it is meant to be asked for you to be able to include the customer on that conversation. Right? We do not want you to be the only one talking on your calls. Now, asking these questions is giving your customers the opportunity to say what they wanted to say that will help you identify the customer's level of interest. Sounds pretty good, right? Yeah, that sounds good. All right, does that sound fair? Yeah, it does sound fair. All right. Again, this will help you identify the customer's level of interest in cooperation. So there should be no reason why you guys will be skipping these questions and just, move forward to the third paragraph right away because you just think that asking this question is a waste of time. All right. So the more the customer responds, the more chances of winning and more chances of transferring that customer over. So again, there should be no reason why it would not take you, or it would take you more than 90 seconds to identify the customer's level of interest. Because then again, we have the questions that corresponds to that on your script, on the second paragraph and on the third paragraph. Any questions so far?
No, it's clear.
Okay. All right, so since we got the interest and cooperation out of the way, now we have the qualification. All right, now I know that these are basic qualifications, but there are some exceptions that we did not include on the script, hence I asked you earlier to have a notepad ready where you could take down notes. Now, three qualifications: ownership of the property, the type of home that they live in, and their average monthly electric bill. Now, just like the rest of the script, these questions need to be asked just like the way it was written down. All right. Now, as you can see, on every questions that we ask them, we give them options. Do you own the property or do you rent it? What type of home do you live in? Is it a single family residence, etc., etc.? Now, we do not want to assume information. I do not want you to be asking these people, you own the property, right? Right? Because on that case, you are not asking a question. You are assuming the information. Now, again, your job is to make sure that they're interested, cooperative, and qualified. All right. Now, I mean, we can ask these questions in so many ways, but you might be getting different answers. So, the best way to go is to ask a straightforward question just so you could be able to get the answers right away. All right. But, anyhow, right, what we're looking for are customers who owns the property 100%, meaning the deed of the property is under their name. If they're renting or renting to own, automatically disqualify them. No more negotiations. I don't care if the customer is 101% interested about a program, but if they're renting or renting to own, they would not qualify. All right. Now, we have three exceptions on this qualifier. Number one exception is if a customer is on a mortgage. All right. So when we say mortgage, they still owe the bank because they took out a loan for that property and they still paying for it. So if you hear customers telling you, well, you know what, I'm buying it, I'm still paying it to, it's a loan. I took out a loan and I'm still paying for it to my bank. All right. Those type of customers are on a mortgage. Or if they tell you straight up, hey, you know what, I'm on a mortgage. All right, then that's fine. All right, why? Because they'll own the property eventually. All right, unlike if they're renting to own is like second hand ownership. It is when a customer or it is when a person takes out a loan to get that property and that person gave it to a different person and they're paying them for that property and they're using that money to pay for the property to their bank. So it's like second hand ownership that they did not pay off yet. But for mortgage people, they own the property, but it's just that they're still paying for it to their bank. All right, that is one of the exceptions if they're on a mortgage. Second exception is if they're a decision maker. All right, let's say, for example, you ask the question, do you own a property or do you rent it? Well, my mom owns it, or my sister owns it, or my dad owns it. All right, if you're not speaking to the homeowner, but you're speaking to an immediate family member, chances are they could be a decision maker, right? So if you're not speaking to the homeowner and they told you that, well, it is a family member's property, you could ask them, are you one of the decision makers? All right. And if they told you yes, you have to look for a power of attorney. All right. So the way it works is, do you own the property or do you rent it? Well, my dad owns it. Okay. Are you one of the decision makers? Yes, I am. Do you have a power of attorney? No, I don't. All right. Now, keep in mind that if they're a decision maker, they need to have a power of attorney. The power of attorney is an authorization from the owner themselves that this person is authorized to make changes on the property, that this person is authorized to help me decide financially. If they do not have a power of attorney, we cannot help them. All right. Now, if they have a power of attorney, if they're a decision maker and they have a power of attorney, move forward to the next question. All right? That is the second exception. Third exception is for part owners. I mean, it is very rare, even with decision makers. These are very rare, but in case that you experience them, the third one is part owner or part ownership. which means that they own a percentage on that property. It could be half of it, or there are some, instances wherein, siblings own the property because their parents passed away. So they have to like, or they own the property all by themselves. So that said, there are multiple owners on that property, right? Now, if you are speaking to a part owner, provided that they own a percentage on that property, move forward to the next question. Now, I understand that I mentioned earlier that we need 100% ownership on the property, but the way it works on the closing is we will be setting up an appointment with all of the owners, make sure that everybody will be there just so we could get 100% of the ownership. All right. So those are the three exceptions on this qualifier. Any questions so far?
No, it's clear.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Mhm.
Now, second qualifier that you have is the type of home that they live in. Again, ask the questions just like the way it was written down. Do not assume that they live in a single family residence, townhouse, condo, manufactured home, or mobile home. Ask it. All right, now there is a reason behind that, most specifically on this question. But before that, what we're looking for is a single family residence, meaning it is a standalone building. They're not sharing the roof, and there's one family or two family living on that property. All right, that is a single family residence. All right, now keep in mind that farmhouses and ranches are considered as a single family residence. I do not want you guys to be disqualifying them, most especially because we have clients, in Texas, Connecticut, and states who are actually in the industry of farming, and they would tell you that they live in a farmhouse, or they have a ranch or something, especially in Texas. So please do not disqualify them. All right, not unless they tell you specifically that a mobile home I have a mobile home in a farm. All right, not unless they tell you that. But if they told you, well, I have a ranch home, or I have a farmhouse, or it's a farmhouse, then those are considered as a single family residence, and that is exactly what we're looking for. Now, if they live in a townhouse, condo, manufactured home, or mobile home, automatically disqualify them. Now, the reason why this question needs to be asked just like the way it was written down is because there are a lot of customers who considers mobile home as a single family residence. Why is that? Is because, I mean, if you'll describe a mobile home, I mean, they do not share the roof. They own all sides of it, and there's only one family who's living in it, right? So technically, yes, it's a single family residence, but the way it is structured, it's not capable of putting solar panels on. Now you might tell me, well, they could put the solar panels on the ground, they might own, acres of land. Yeah, but the problem is they would not be qualified for any financing program. All right. Now you have to be careful with mobile homes. They have a lot of terms that they use to describe a mobile home. Sometimes they call it double wide trailer homes, prefabricated homes, modular homes, manufactured home. All of those fall under the mobile home family, and we cannot help them. All right. And again, automatically disqualified townhouse, condo, manufactured home, or mobile home. There is nothing that we can do for them. Now, there are only two exceptions on this qualifier. All right. Number one is if they live in a duplex. All right. So if we describe a duplex, it has two sides in it. If they live in a duplex, they need to own both sides for them to be qualified. All right. If they live in a duplex and they just own a one unit or one side of that property, we cannot help them. All right. The clue here is they need to own the whole roof to make it possible. We cannot install solar panels on just left side or right side of a duplex. We need the whole roof to make it possible. All right. Second exception is if they live in a multi-family house. Now, multi-family house, it has more than 2 units in it. All right. So if they live in a multi-family house, they need to own all units, the whole property, the whole building. If they just own 1 unit out of a multi-family house, again, we cannot qualify them. We need the whole roof to make it possible. So if they own those type of houses, the second the you know the follow up question that you need to ask is, do you own all sides of that property, all units of that property? All right. If they said yes, then move forward to the next question. If they said no, then disqualify them. All right. And I hope that I'm being clear. If you have any questions, please feel free to cut me off. Okay, now last but not the least qualifier that you have is their average monthly electric bill. Now I know that some of you already have an idea on how to make this question a little bit shorter because you think that is just, pretty much long, a long question, but please don't. All right. Now, this is one of the common mistakes that our agents are doing. So please do not do it anymore, or at least before, do not commit the mistakes anymore. On this question. So if you analyze the question, what we're looking for is an average monthly electric bill. All right, not the recent bill, not the summers or winters bill, not the highest electric bill. All right, what we're looking for is an average monthly electric bill if they took a 12-month average. Now, as you can see, we also included this phrase on this question. Knowing in the summer it may be higher than in the winter, or vice versa. Now, the reason why we added this on this question is because a lot of customers are given their summers or winters bill. Now we wanted to cut the chase and just get to the bottom of it. What is the average monthly electric bill? If you took a 12-month average, knowing in the summer it may be higher than in the winter. All right. That way, you are now asking them the correct question. So they would know what to respond to your question instead of going back and forth with them. Okay, what is your electric bill? Like 100? Okay, is that an average, or is that the highest, or is that the summer's bill, or is it the recent? Is it the recent bill? That will just eat up a lot of your time. So what you would rather do is to ask the correct question just so you could get the answer as fast as you can. All right, and for you to be able to do that, all right, just follow the question just like the way it was written down. I promise you, if you ask this question properly, these people will give you the correct answer. And again, we're looking for an average monthly electric bill, meaning if they're going to add up their electric bill in a year divided by 12, that is their average monthly electric bill. But please, all right, do not ask your customers, ma'am, can you please add your electric bill in a year and then divide it by 12. I'll be waiting. All right, do not do that. These customers know how much they're paying for their electric bill. All right, not unless, all right, there are two types of customers who would not know how much they're paying. All right, number one type of customer who would not know how much they're paying is a senior citizen, baby boomer, an old customer. Now, take note that old customers, baby boomers, old people are not our customers. We do not want them. All right. Now, the reason behind that, I mean, it doesn't really matter how interested they are, but old customers are not our customers for a reason that we need these people to live up until 7 to 10 years to pay off the system. Now, if they're about to, if they're 1 foot in the grave, they're about to die anytime soon, then they will not be able to live off the benefit from the solar program. Not to mention that they would not qualify for any financing programs. All right. And again, they're one of the customers who would not know how much they're paying, maybe because it's either, the electric company is automatically deducting their electric bill from their bank account, or they have somebody who handles that for them because they're not capable of making financial decisions. Now, if on their electric bill they cannot do it on their own, how do you think would they be able to make decisions when it comes to solar panels or the solar program? All right, slim to none, right? Now, second type of customer who would not know how much they're paying. This happens majority of the time to people who are married. Sometimes they'll tell you, well, it's my husband who pays for the electric bill, or it's my wife, and I never had a chance to like look into my electric bill or to our electric bill every month. Now, if you are not speaking to a customer who is old, all right, it's just that they do not know how much they're paying, the best way to go is to ask for an estimate. All right, but on your estimate, how much do you think you're paying for your electric bill? All right, and then wait for an answer. All right, if the customer said, well, I don't have an idea on how much we are paying, because then again, I'm not checking our electric bill. All right. Now, if you already ask for an estimate and they still can't give you any estimated amount of their electric bill, all right, again, you can only ask this question right after you ask the question that is on the script and right after you ask for an estimate. All right. Now, if they still can't give you after these two questions that you ask them, you can ask them, would you say it is at least $100 or below $100 a month? All right. If they told you, well, it is at least $100, move forward in transferring these customers. All right. If they told you, well, it's below $100, like $70 or $60 every month, then disqualify them. All right, for them to, for this program to make financial sense to everybody, their electric bill should be at least $100. Not to mention that our clients have their own requirements when it comes to the electric bill, and the electric bill that is on the benchmark is 100. So if they're paying less than that, we cannot help them. But if they're paying at least $100 a month on an average, then we can still move forward to it. All right. Any questions so far? Anything that is relevant to what I just discussed?
No,
Jen,
Yes.
uh, what about the old age people? Is there any specific age above than that is not qualified?
Very good question. Thank you so much for catching that. Now, if a customer is over the age of 70, let's say, for example, 75, 80, 85, 90, 98, those ages. Now, even on your introduction, right? As soon as you heard the customer respond on this question, sounds pretty good, right? And then the customer will respond to that, and you could tell that this customer is like 1 foot in the grave. Do not be afraid to ask them. All right, ma'am, are you over the age of 70? Or with all due respect, or please don't mind me asking, ma'am, but are you over the age of 70? Now, if they told you, well, I'm already 98 years old, then, well, ma'am, congratulations, but I cannot help you. Hang up the call. All
Okay.
right. And the only reason why these people is answering your call or your questions is because they're bored. Nor, they do not have anybody to talk to. So what they do is they, sit on their sofa and wait for telemarketers to call them just so they have somebody that they could speak to. And I know it's very sad, but that happens a lot of times, especially on this campaign, wherein agents kept transferring customers who are old. I mean, they would want to be transferred because they would want to speak to people. All right, but by the end of the day, they are not what we're looking for. All right, and did that answer your question? I'm so sorry, I have to
Yes.
expound that.
Yes. I got it.
All right, any more questions?
Well, yes, I would like to put in one from my side
Sure.
on the same question which was asked earlier just now. talking about the people who are older in age, above 70 years, I just have a scenario in mind, saying that if that person who is old on the line with me is not the actual homeowner, for example, maybe his son or daughter might be the homeowner, but he's the one answering the call, can we have an alternative for that?
I mean, if you're not speaking to the homeowner, you gotta hang it up. I mean, you cannot just, okay, can I speak to the owner, or is the owner available? All right. Now,
Uh, we,
if
we can do that?
no, you can't. So, well, you know
Okay.
what? It's my daughter who owns the property. Okay, let me just call back next time. You have a great day, and just hang up the call. I mean, you do not
All right.
want to be wasting your time waiting for that owner to. You don't have an idea where that owner is right now, or right at the moment. So you do not want to be wasting your time waiting for that, for that customer to like answer the call, or have the owner answer the call.
Yeah, great.
Any more questions?
No, how he cleared it off. Even I have
Yeah,
no question.
Jared, just one quick query on the same. Like, can we arrange a callback or let ask like, could you help me? When would your daughter come back and I can call you back?
All right. Since you already asked that question, let me address that right now, right here. All right. As an opening agent, you are not allowed to dispose calls as callback, nor manual dial calls because the customer asks you for a callback. Now, there are two reasons why is that. First is because 80% of the time, callbacks are just a waste of time. All right. Now, if a customer is really interested, they wouldn't mind spending 30 to 40 more seconds with you just to go through the rest of the script and be transferred over. Especially if you are already asking them, especially if you already informed them on what you were calling about. Now, I promise you, if a customer is really interested, no matter how busy they are, they would stay with you and finish the qualification and wait to be transferred over to the closing agent. Now, the reason why these customers are asking after callbacks, right after you inform them what you're calling about, is because they just wanted to get rid of you on the phone. All right, that is the second reason. That is the first reason. Second reason is we do not want you to be committing telephone terrorism. It is illegal. All right. Now, yes, you might be disciplined enough for these callbacks, but we cannot control everybody. All right. I mean, you will not be the one to receive these lawsuits for telephone terrorism. All right. So for us to be able to solve that problem, what we did is you cannot manual dial calls as callback, but that doesn't mean that there are no valid callbacks. It's just that we do not dispose it as a callback. All right. And I'm gonna expound that in a few here. But did that answer your question, or at least half of your question?
Yes, yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Apart from that question, do you guys have anything else before I move forward?
No, it's clear.
Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
let's finish up on the script. All right. Now, right after pre-qualifying these customers, your job is to transfer them over to our closing agents. Now, you have to get a response on this paragraph. I do not want you to be transferring your customers right after you ask about their electric bill. All right? The reason behind that is you do not want your customers to be hanging up while being transferred. All right? It doesn't really matter how many transfers you did today, but what really matters is how many customers that our closing agents were actually able to set up an appointment with. Now, if you are just transferring calls just for the sake of it, please don't. All right. I would rather have you guys transfer one, two, three, four, five transfers a day, but those customers actually stayed with the closing agent that they were actually able to set an appointment with them. You do not get evaluated on the quantity of your transfers. You get evaluated on the quality of your transfers. I understand that you wanted to have as many transfers that you guys can, but if there are no quality or if there is no quality on those transfers, it's useless. All right. So again, before you transfer them, make sure that you responded on this paragraph, and they also know that they're being transferred before you transfer them. All right. Now, since we will be doing a cold transfer, you will not be staying on the line with the customer. All right. We will be doing a quick transfer or a blind transfer. Once you press the transfer button, that will automatically disqualify the call. Disconnect the call from your end, and it will automatically connect the call to the next available closing agent. So if you did not inform the customer that they have to stay on the line, the tendency is they might be hanging up before they even get connected to our closing agent. That's how important for you to get an answer on this paragraph, just to make sure that they really are interested in finding out more. And you have to emphasize that they have to stay on the line. That way they would not be hanging up while being transferred. All right. Now, one more thing that is really important when it comes to customers asking you questions, isn't it that you only have limited information? It is only limited with the information that you have on the script, and it is only limited with the information that you have on the labs document. Right? Now, the question is, what if a customer asks me a specific question about the solar panels? That is not related, or that was not discussed on the training, or that was not on the labs document. All right. Again, keep in mind that my job is to only look for people that are interested, qualified, and cooperative. Now, I am not the specialist yet. You are not the specialist yet. All right. Now, what if a customer asks me, a question that I cannot answer using the information on the script, nor, using the information on the labs document? Now, when it comes to those type of customers, let's say, for example, a customer asks you a question. Okay, so, well, you know what? I wanted the solar shingles. Do you have those type of panels available? Or what are these panels? Where did these panels were manufactured? Any question that you cannot answer using the information on the script or the labs document, what you would want to do is to take advantage of that opportunity and transfer that customer over. All right. Now, we do not want you to be superheroes yet. If you have an idea, if you know how this program works, like the solar program works in US, if you have any information that we did not include here, there is a reason behind that. All right. So again, if it's not part of the script, do not say it. But rather, if they ask you a question, all right, out of the box question, again, use it as a ticket to transfer them over. So for example, all right, you are on the second paragraph. This is a win-win opportunity. There are no out-of-pocket expenses for you. And as I said, your electric bill will be cut by as much as 60%. Sounds pretty good, right? Yeah, that sounds good, but do you guys have this type of panels? I've been wanting this for years. Now, you do not have any response to that. I mean, we did not discuss anything about that question, nor you have any information on that type of question. So instead of responding to that question, what you would want to do is to bridge it, all right, and transfer the customer over. Well, that is a very good question. Acknowledge the question, all right, and then bridge it to what you wanted to say. That is a very good question. That is a very good question. Let me, I'll tell you what. I actually have a specialist on the other line who could answer that question better than I can. Let me just go ahead and pre-qualify you here and transfer you over. This call may be recorded for training and compliance purposes. Do you own the property or rent it? What type of home do you live in? What is your average monthly electric bill? Perfect. Let me go ahead and transfer you over. All right, or some sort of that line. Now we have a stock response here, just in case, or you could create your own. You might want it to make it a little bit shorter or something, but if you do not have an idea on how to do that yet, you could use the stock response every time a customer asks you an out of the box question that you cannot answer. All right, everybody on the same page on that?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, but at this on the same token, all right, and I'm so sorry for the dogs barking, or for the dog barking. I can't control it. But anyway, now you have to be careful when it comes to the customers asking you questions. All right, there is what we call the buying question, and there is what we call the BS question. All right, buying question is, that is a question that that shows their level of interest. If they're asking about the cost, about the type of panels, anything that is related on the program, or on the solar panels itself. All right, those are buying questions. And again, that is something that you would want, those are the customers that you would want to transfer to our closing agents. All right. Now, when we say BS questions, these are the customers asking you, okay, but what country you're from, or what is your first and last name, or what is the address of the office, or what is your website. When it comes to customers asking website, maybe they really are interested. But when it comes to customer asking you, okay, but what is your first and last name again? What country you're from? And to call this, what is the address, or what is the business address, or who is the owner? All right, those are BS questions, or wanna sue you questions. Those are the types of customer who would want, or they're fishing for a lawsuit. All right, those are the information that they would wanted to know if they will be filing for a lawsuit. And sometimes people are just filing for a lawsuit just because they don't really have a reason why. All right, especially when you tell them that they're being recorded for training and compliance purposes, and they told you, what, I do not want to be recorded. Now that is a red flag. All right, because all of the customers know who are on the national DNC that they should not be recorded, so that they could file a lawsuit easily. So if your customer does not want to be recorded just for training and compliance purposes, hang up on them and put them on the DNC. They know how it works. All right, because if they filed for a lawsuit and you have this disclaimer on your recording, they cannot do that, because the disclaimer simply waives their right from the national DNC, or in filing for a lawsuit, because they allowed us to ask them questions. That is how important the disclaimer is. All right, any questions so far before I move forward on your tools?
Yes, in the whole script, do we mention the customer's name? Like, could you help me with a good name so I can help the specialist and he can brief you with all the questions that you
No,
want?
you do not have to.
Okay.
That is the closing agent's job.
Okay.
And once you guys will be promoted to closer in training, you would understand why we do not ask the first and last name to begin with on the opening side. But no, we don't. Just transfer them to the closing agent. Is that all right?
Yeah. Got it.
Any more questions? No?
No.
Okay, so while you guys think of questions, let me just, okay. Start sharing my screen again. Okay, later on, Barry will be distributing your IDs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll be providing that to him.
Okay.
And okay, so when it comes to your tools, the only thing that you need, okay, somebody sent a message. Don't worry about it, Mr. Mahantesh, Meti. Barry will be sending you the copy of this recording later on. We recorded the training, so you might wanted to go back to it right after this session. All right. Okay, so when it comes to your tools, all right, the only thing that you need is a Google Chrome. Nothing more, nothing less. All right, and you guys can see my screen, right?
Yep.
All right, so later on, along with your IDs, we will be forwarding you your dialer link. And again, you only need Google Chrome as your tool for you to be able to log in on our system. Please do not
Mm-hmm.
use any other browsers, just use Google Chrome. All right. Now, when you will be logging in, I know that a lot of you, or all of you maybe, is familiar with this dialer, the Vichy dialer. So again, IDs will be provided later on. But for the sake of some people here who does not know how to use Vichy dial, let me do it from the start, just so everybody is all on the same page. Now, we will be providing your ID and your password. So for the meantime, let me use my ID and my password. So it will ask you to log in 2 times here. For the phone login, so enter your ID and make sure that when you enter the password, enter it just like the way we provided it to you. All right, the password is the same for everybody. Make sure that all letters are in capital. All right. They're all in capital. It is case sensitive, so please make sure that they're all in capital letters. So you have to enter your password and then enter or submit. All right. And it will ask you to log in. For the user login, you have to use the same ID and same password. All right. And for the campaign, you have to have Titan Solar openers. All right. This should be the campaign that you have to select on your drop down menu. All right, and once you do that, hit submit. Now, since this is the only tool that we will be using, the soft phone or the phone is already built in on the system. Now, for you to have an access on the soft phone, for the customers to be able to hear you and for you to be able to hear the customers, you have to allow your microphone. That said, there will be a notification on the left upper part of your screen. It's not going to show on my screen because I already allowed it a long time ago. I've been using the dialer for how many years now? So it's not gonna it's not gonna ask me to do that again. But if this is your first time, there is a notification on the left upper part of your screen asking you to allow your microphone. Now before you press anything here, all right, make sure that you allow your microphone first. Once you allowed your microphone here, press call agent web phone. There you go. You should be able to hear the prompt. You're the only person in this conference. If you did not hear that prompt, you are not set up properly. It's either there is something wrong with your internet, hence it's not letting you use the soft phone, or you just did not log in properly and you did not allow your microphone. All right. And it is very important for you to hear that prompt because that simply tells you that you are good to go, that these customers will be able to hear you and you will be able to hear the customers. All right. Now, this is the soft phone that I'm talking about. Please do not touch anything here. All right. Just mind your own business. Use the dialer. Do not touch anything on the soft phone. All right, because you might have touched something here and it will disconnect the call or you will not be able to hear the customer. But for training purposes, let me put myself on mute. Okay, now, once you guys are logged in, please do not be on pause. If you decided to log in, that means that you decided to make calls. All right. So when you log in, you make sure that you are ready, you are prepared to take in actual calls. Do not be on pause on our dialer for how many minutes, because first, it is delaying everybody. It is delaying the calls for everybody. Second is one of the areas that you're being evaluated on is the number of hours that you are logged in. Now, the number of hours that you are on pause will be deducted on your total active login time, and that will be a separate discussion with your managers later on. But again, do not be on pause on the dialer. Go on active right away once you log in. Now, there are only 3 buttons that you will be using on the opening, and that is the active button, which is this yellow one. All right, quick transfer and hang up customer. All right. So as you can see, calls will be queued in. You just have to wait for your calls. Now, your waiting time should not last more than 30 seconds. If you have been waiting for calls for more than 30 seconds, please let me know so that we could make adjustments on the calls. All right. So it should not last more than 30 seconds. Average should be from 10 seconds to 21 seconds. If you are waiting for 30 seconds or longer than that, please let us know. Okay. Now, again, for you to receive calls, you have to go on active. So as you can see, you are active. So what I just needed to do is just to wait for calls. Let's see if I could get call. I mean, this is not the campaign designated for me, but let's see. Oh, there you go. All right. So let's say, for example, this customer. All right. As you can see, there is an information, first and last name, an address sometimes, and an email address. Now, if you go back on your script, there is nothing on the script that tells you to look for the customer that is on the dialer, right? So in short, we do not want you to be looking for these customers. All right, because our data could be 80% accurate, but there's still a 20% chance that it isn't. All right, we do not want to be wasting our leads just because it's a wrong number. All right, so what we want you to do instead is to pitch the person who picks up the phone. Do not look for the customer that is on the dialer. Just pitch the customer that is on the other line. We do not want you, again, to assume the information. All right? If this is the correct information, perfect. All right? But, there are times wherein it's not. So please do not assume the information. Now, let's say, for example, all right, you will be transferring this customer over. Again, this is just a sample call. All right? So when you will be transferring a call, you have to press quick transfer. All right, this is what it does when you transfer a call using make sure that you guys are not confused with transfer conference and quick transfer, because once you press transfer conference by accident, you cannot go back and press quick transfer instead. All right, just have to call it a day. Well, nice try. You just have to hang up the call because there is no going back once you press transfer conference by mistake. So make sure that you are pressing quick transfer. If you need to make your dialer a little bit bigger, please do that just to make sure that you will be able to press the correct button. So this is what happens when you transfer a customer. All right, you press quick transfer and it will automatically direct you to the disposition screen. Now, if that was a transfer, dispose it as a call transferred. But for that customer, let me dispose that as a no answer. Now, you just have to press the disposition 2 times and it will go back on the dialing page and you are ready to take in calls again. All right. Now, if you need to disconnect the call, maybe because the customer is not interested or it's an answering machine or nobody there, or any reason that you have to disconnect the call, just press hang up customer and it's the same thing. It will direct you to the disposition screen. Hence, you have to be careful. Make sure that you are focused when you will be transferring customers. It's because there are a lot of agents who are very excited to like transfer these customers over. So instead of like pressing quick transfer, what they're pressing is hang up customer. All right. So this is what happens when you hang up a call. Again, it will direct you on the disposition screen. All right. Any questions so far? Any questions so far on the
No, it's clear.
Okay, so let me go ahead and show you guys the disposition screen. We will be sending you a file, or you may already have it, but we will be sending you the proper usage of disposition file, wherein it has all of the dispositions and it will tell you when to use them. So again, we will be sending that in a few, but let me go ahead and do a quick rundown on the dispositions. That way, when you have any questions regarding those dispositions, we could address it right here, right now. Okay. All right. So hold on. Let me just log out here. We do not want to be reprimanded, so let me log out. Okay. So let's talk about your dispositions for a second here. Okay. So there are some dispositions that are not for you guys. Some of them are for our closing agents. Um, Now, I am assuming that everybody know what an answering machine is. All right. Well, not unless there is anybody or somebody here who does not know what an answering machine is. Anybody? Okay, I guess everybody know what an answering machine is. Now, you can use that disposition. All right, answering machine. And you have here busy. Now, you do not use busy just because the customer told you that they're busy. All right, you use the busy disposition if you heard a busy tone. All right, meaning the customer is on another call and you can call that person because they're on a call and you heard and you can hear a busy tone. That is what the busy disposition is for, and you can use this. Now, let me go back to callback in a few here. And we have disconnected number, meaning the number is no longer in service. I mean, this is very rare because the way our system works, it detects whether the customer is already disconnected or not. But just in case that you encounter a call wherein it is a disconnected number, it's telling you that the number is no longer in service, right? So, I mean, do not dispose a call as disconnected just because you guys got disconnected, right? Again, these are for the numbers that are no longer in service. Disposition it as a disconnected number. All right. And we have here dead air. All right. Remember my call earlier when I received the call and the call automatically hangs up all by itself? That is a dead air. All right, compared to no answer is you are on a live call, but nobody is just responding on the other line. That is a no answer. As for dead air, all right, it is the call automatically hangs up by itself. No answer, nobody's responding on the other line, and you are on a live call. All right, still following me?
Yep.
Okay. Now, we have here decline sale. Please do not use this. This is for our closing agents. And you have here do not call if the customer requested to be taken off of the list or they are trying to waste your time. All right. Now, a lot of customers, there will be customers who will just waste your time, and you just have to be careful with it. All right. I mean, sometimes you have to know the customers or the type of customers that you're speaking with, know when they're just trying to be sarcastic, know when they're just trying to waste your time. Now, if a customer is being sarcastic or they're just trying to waste your time, put them on the DNC. All right. Of course, you would not want to speak to them again. Once you put a customer or a number on the DNC, it will be, it will be taken off of the list right away. All right. So make sure that you are using DNC correctly. right? We have EB 100, self-explanatory. If their electric bill is below $100, that is, something that you could use. And we have here English. Please do not use this. This is for our Spanish agents. All right. I mean, if you're, in case you're wondering why we have this disposition, nobody should dispose a call as English because you guys are already on the English campaign. All right. And you have here have solar, self-explanatory. If they already have solar, now I do not care if the customer would want more panels. They want 1,000 panels on their roof or on their property. I don't care. But they're still have solar customers. We cannot help them. We cannot add nor replace solar panels. All right. Have solar customer is a have solar customer. Period. And we have here low income. Please do not use this. It is not part of your qualification. So there should be no reason why you have to, disqualify a customer because of their income. In case a customer brings up the idea or the concern about their income, like let's say, for example, the customer told you, well, you know what, I was not qualified or I'm not qualified because of my income. Do not agree with them nor disqualify them, but what you would rather do is to transfer them to our closing agents. It's because majority of our clients doesn't have any requirement on the income. All right, just let them know, well, you know what, ma'am, we have different options that are available, and our solar specialist would be more than willing to discuss that to you. Let me just pre-qualify you here and transfer you over. This call may be recorded for training and compliance purposes. Ask your qualifying questions and then transfer them over, but do not disqualify them. All right, let the closing agent handle that from there. And we have here not interested. All right. Well, technically, if the customer is not interested, put them on not interested. And we have here no pitch. I'm going to discuss that later on here. And we have here not single family residence. You can use this as well. And you have here renter. Not single family residence is if they live in a townhouse condo, so, a type of home that we do not qualify. Put it on a not single family residence. And if they own or if you reached a business line as well, put them on not single family residence. All right. And we also have here renter, self-explanatory. If they do not own the property, they're renting. All right. Ringing calls. For the ringing calls, guys, if you received a ringing call and it already rung at least once or twice, hang up the call right away and put it on ringing calls disposition. We do not want you to be waiting on these ringing calls for somebody to pick up. Keep in mind that these leads or our leads are being automatically dialed by our system. So and being queued in on your dialer. So if you received it ringing, that only means that it had been ringing before you even received it. All right, so you do not want to waste any more time waiting for somebody to pick up. Just hang up the call and dispose it as a ringing call. All right, and you also have here robocalls. Robocalls, you only use this for I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with a robocall, but it is when it is a call wherein it is a pre-recorded human voice. There are some robocalls wherein it will ask you to hold on just a second. I'm speaking to my dog, or my dog is barking, or they're fighting with somebody else, on the other line. Those are robocalls. All right. But for robocalls, for real robocalls, such as those kind of calls, please put them on the DNC instead of robocall. All right. Please do not use robocall, not unless I instructed you to do so. All right. But if you received a real robocall, put it on the DNC. I mean, the reason why customers have their robocall set up is because they do not want to receive any telemarketing calls. So put them on the DNC. Do not dispose it as a robocall, not unless we gave you an instruction about robocalls. All right. And we have here SaleMate. Please do not use this. This is for our closing agents. And we have here Spanish. Spanish is your language barrier disposition. All right. If they do not speak, or if they speak any other languages apart from English, put it on Spanish. Again, it is your language barrier disposition. All right. And we have here call transferred. If you were able to transfer a call or a customer who's interested, qualified, and cooperative. Any questions so far before I address the callback scenario?
So, Jen,
Yes.
I need to ask you one thing. So, we just transfer the call through not the transfer conference, just blind
Um,
transfer, right?
just quick transfer.
Quick transfer. And after once we hit that button, we don't need to do anything, right?
Yes, exactly. Just
We
move
will
on
be
with your life.
automatically like kicked out of the line, or we still need to dispose it.
Just once you press quick transfer, isn't it that it will direct you to the disposition screen, just like what you can see on
Yeah.
my screen? Just dispose it as a call transferred, and then once you press the disposition 2 times, it will
Yes.
direct you back to the dialing page, and you just have to
Yeah.
move on with your life, keep dialing, you know.
All right. Okay.
Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, Jen, could you just please explain that NSFR once more?
I'm sorry.
That's not single family resident once more. Like, I didn't understand
Okay.
quite clear.
Yeah, so for the not single family residents, that is if they live in a type of home that we do not qualify, such as townhouse, condo, manufactured home, mobile home. All right, dispose that as a not single family residence. And if you reached a business line too, like McDonald's, Wendy's, put it on a not single family residence.
Okay.
Is that clear now?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions? Nada? None? Okay. So let's address the concern earlier. This is the second part of it about the callback. All right. So I told you earlier you are not allowed to dispose calls as callback nor manual dial customers just because they ask for a callback, but that doesn't mean that there are no valid callbacks. All right. It's just that we do not dispose it as a callback. All right. Now, with that said, we have 2 scenarios of callback or valid callback. All right. Let me go back on the script for a second here. Now, we have what we call the no pitch callback, and we have the call transferred callback. All right. Now, let's start with the no pitch callback. All right. No pitch callback, from the word itself, no pitch, meaning you were not able to discuss anything yet to these people, and yet they're asking for a call back. So let's say, for example, you are on the first and second paragraph. Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm calling from SunRay Solar. What we are doing is calling people in your area that are interested in lowering their electric bill by as much as 60%. This is a win-win opportunity. There are no out-of-pocket expenses for you, and as I said, your electric bill will be cut by as much as 60%. Sounds pretty good, right? And then the customer told you, well, can you call me back? I'm working at the moment. And then the customer hangs up right away. Now, that is not a callback. That is a no pitch. Why? Because you were not able to discuss the main reason why you're calling just yet. All right. So again, if you were not able to discuss the third paragraph yet and the customer requested for a callback, that is a no pitch, meaning you were not able to discuss anything yet. What is it there to call back? You were not able to discuss anything yet. All right. That is the first scenario. Second scenario is a call transferred callback. All right. Let's say, for example, you are already on the third paragraph and you were able to say the third paragraph. So my job is not to sell you anything, but rather to educate you on possibly switching to solar and see if you qualify. If you do, we will then create a professional, no cost, no obligation proposal for you. It will show you exactly how much you can save or even earn by going solar. Does that sound fair? Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds fair, but you know what? I'm working right now. Can you call me back in the afternoon? All right, and the customer is still there. All right. Now, since you already provided all of the information for them to be interested on the program, and yet they're asking for a callback, what you would want to do is to push for qualification. By how? All right, just let the customer know, you know what, ma'am, I understand that you are working right now, that you are busy right now, and I am busy myself too. But tell you what, let me go ahead and pre-qualify you here and transfer you over to one of our solar specialists, and they'd be more than willing to schedule a callback for you. All right, this call may be recorded for training and compliance purposes. Do you own the property or rent it? What type of home do you live in? What is your average monthly electric bill? Perfect. Let me go ahead and transfer you over.
Mhm.
All right. Now, what that does is even if it's a callback on the closing agent side, once these closing agents call this customer back and they were able to set an appointment with the customer, you will still get the credit for it. All right. Instead of dispositioning these calls as callback, you would not know if you could get a hold of them the second time around. So the best way to go is to just send them to the closing agent, because there are two things that could happen on the closing side. First thing that could happen is we will be pushing for these customers to finish the process with us. And by the end of that process, we will be able to set the appointment with them. We have been addressing these callbacks for how many years now? When it comes to these type of customers who would tell us, you know what, I only have limited time, call me back. But instead of dispositioning these calls as callback, what we do is we try our best to actually, set the appointment with them, gather the necessary information, and ask, couple more questions on these customers. All right. So again, try your, please, if you already told them what you're calling about or what the program is all about, please try your best to transfer them over. Let them know that there is a solar specialist on the other line, who could schedule that callback whenever their availability is. Pre-qualify them and then transfer them over. All right. Now, I know that your next question is, well, what if the customer is really busy and we pushed for it and then the customer hangs up on us?
Yep, exactly.
Now, that is a very good question, because again, that only justifies what I said earlier, that 80% of the time these customers will only ask for a callback just because they're not really interested, and they wanted you to get you off. They wanted to get you off the phone.
Mhm.
Because to be honest, if these customers are really interested, I've experienced this, myself, for how many years of working on this campaign, that if a customer is really interested, as long as they really are interested about it, they wouldn't mind spending 30 to 40 more seconds with you, just, no matter how busy they were. One of the I had a lot of customers wherein they were actually on a meeting and they're asking for a callback, but what I did is just to straight up, ask them about the qualifying questions, and they still answer to your questions, and that only shows how interested they were. But if a customer hangs up on you and you just needed to ask like 3 questions, that is like what, 30 to 40 more seconds with them, and they hang up on you, I mean, that tells you that they really aren't 100% interested about the program. All right. So on that note, if they hang up on you while you're asking them the qualifying questions or right after the third paragraph and they hang
Mhm.
up on you, that is a not interested customer. All right. Does that make
Okay.
sense to everybody?
Yep.
How about the rest? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yes, yes.
All right. Perfection. So, that
Uh,
is, yes, go ahead.
yeah, Jen, I just had one question. Like, there may be some instances that the customer gets very irritated and uses an abusive language. So, which disposition should we be using on that
I'm
case?
sorry.
On
He's asking
instances,
like,
if a customer uses an abusive language, like a slang,
Put
on the
them on the
call, so
DNC.
the answer.
mhm.
All right. If they told you that you're an asshole, put them on the DNC. All right. Okay, what else? Any more questions, comments, concerns, or any violent reactions if you have any?
Yeah,
I have a question.
I
Okay,
do have
one
a
by one.
question.
One
Hello.
by one. Okay, go ahead, Max.
Yeah, this is Max here. Actually, if a particular person has already installed the solar into his property, do we need to pitch them into another, like, we need an options where we can quote them for the another property like business or commercial,
If they
if
have
they do
an
have that?
Yeah, if they have another property and they wanted to install solar panels on a different property that has no solar panels on it, yes, we can transfer them. But if they already have solar on the property and they just wanted additional panels, we cannot help them.
Okay.
Next question. I think somebody
Yes.
was asking yes, go ahead.
Do we have an estimate? Do we have an EHT here to tell the customer?
Again, you only have 90 seconds to identify your customer. All right. By the end, in 90 seconds, it's either you will be able to transfer them or you will disqualify them. End of discussion.
No, no. What I mean to say is, no, the average hold time when we make the call transfer.
Oh, okay. All right. Got you. Now, there is no hold time nor waiting time when it comes to transferring these calls because we have closing agents round the clock. We make sure that we have enough agents, or it is, we actually look into the real time admin every hour, every minute of our lives here just to make sure that we have enough closing agents, and at the moment we have enough closing agents to to get those transfers, so there should be no waiting time.
Okay. All right.
Any more questions, concerns? No. Okay, so guys, if you do not have any question, what I'll be doing or what we will be doing here, Barry and I, we will be sending you guys a video wherein it talks about how the script should be delivered, done by the owner himself, just so you guys have an idea how the script is being delivered. And at the same time, please make sure that you review the labs document. Those are the FAQs from these customers. And again, the IDs will be provided right after this training session, along with the recording of this session. All right. So one last time, any more questions, comments, or concerns?
Yeah, Jen, there is a question which is in the trading questionnaires, and it says if an agent made 500 call in a day, how many billable transfers should the agent expect to?
Okay. So what is your best bet on that question?
Well, in 8 hours, I would say somewhere around 12 to 13.
Well, yep. Well, that should be the number that we need to get. But then again, on an average, all right, in every 500 calls that you guys make, there should be at least 4 billable
Right.
transfers. All right, which means that on every 125 calls that you make, there should be at least one billable transfer. All right. So, I
Mhm.
mean, yes, we could have 13 transfers, but how many of them were actually billable transfers? Right?
All right.
So again, that is what you are expected to get. But if you could do more than that, that is good. All right. Now, again, I just wanted to remind you guys that the goal here is not to be the best opening agent. You do not want to be relying your luck to the closing agents because sometimes they slack off too. We slack off too, right? So instead of relying your luck or your scores to the closing agents, what you would rather do is to be in control of your own destiny, and the only way that you could do that is to get yourself promoted to closers in training and eventually closing agents. And I hope everybody understands that, or you don't.
We understood.
Yeah,
Okay,
we do.
already. Any more questions? Okay. Silence means no more questions. So let me go ahead and stop this recording. And again,